What is one fast food restaurant you will never go to? Sonic, I worked there. The hot dogs slash chili have a chance of being 2+ days old. Same with the gravy. You also better hope someone taught an employee how to clean the ice cream slash slushy machines. If not, you might have a similar story to mine. When I was new, they were training us at an old Sonic, so we would go work at a new one. The manager was also new to that area and was heading to the new one. So one day, he decided it was time to clean the ice cream machine and asked one of the employees from there to teach us. They didn't know how, so he went around asking, and no one who worked there knew how to clean it. So he gathered us around to teach us. He shut down the machine and opened it up. A cascade of ice cream mix and maggots came pouring down. The machine was apparently crushing the maggots as it mixed the ice cream. He cleaned the slushy machine the next day, but I wasn't there to see it. I just heard it wasn't pretty. Sonic got served rotten dairy, then called a lying ducking glitch by the manager. I wasn't even asking for money back since I was already out of town. Just called to warn them that it was rotten. Sonic. It was my first job, and I worked there on and off for about 5 years. I ate lots of their food early on, but I got serious burnout after a while. 20 years later and I still can't eat it. Just the smell of their burgers and onion rings make me nauseous. I don't understand why people like Panera so much. 'Tis a little lie that backfired on you when you were younger. I used to like dropping eggs on the floor because I thought it was satisfying, so I dropped 3 eggs on the ground one day and blamed it on my little sister. I thought it would work since she's a troublemaker, but there was egg whites on my hands. What's the best loading tip you've gotten from a video game? If at first you don't succeed, try mashing buttons. Wedding photographers of Reddit. What was your "they're not gonna last long" moment? The uncle's second wife was trying to tell the bride how to do the wedding. Overeat. I cook so amazing food, dude. You would too if you tasted it. Jerking off. Binge eat. Smoking sneed. Vaping, unfortunately. Drink Coke. Buying more books when my backlog is already massive. I know if I stopped, it would take more than a year to read them all, and I read quick, yet I find more books I'm interested in while reading, and if they are super cheap I can't resist. They're blasting music loudly into my ears. I'm still young, so I hope I don't develop tinnitus when I'm older. Eat sugar. Drinking beer. If she refers to herself as or desires to be treated like a princess, you'll never be anything but a servant. Fucking Panama Lewis. Why haven't I seen his name here yet? One of the scummiest scumbags in boxing, in an era dominated by scumbags. Here is his worst story. Billy Collins was a boxer that showed incredible promise, an up-and-comer to boxing, and was clearly on track to being pro. He was 14-0 when he had a match against Louis Risto, a lesser-known boxer that was not on Collins' level. It was clear to everyone that Collins was going to win. Enter Panama Lewis. Panama Lewis was in Lewis' corner. Panama Lewis was known to be a dirty coach, often being caught putting cocaine in his fighters' water so they can zoot between rounds. Risto came out hard and dominated for 10 rounds. It was unreal how well he was fighting, and how much damage he had done to Billy Collins. It was an upset for the ages. After the fight, Billy Collins SR comes over to Risto and offers a congratulatory handshake. In that moment, he knew something was wrong and immediately alerted the ref. Not only had Panama Lewis removed the padding from the boxing gloves, he wrapped Risto's hands in plaster of Paris. He was essentially cement boxing. Risto denies knowing, really, but it is clear that Panama Lewis was behind it. It left Collins permanently damaged and took him out of the sport. He became depressed and suicidal, eventually dying in a car accident believed to be a suicide. The damage was so bad, Risto did prison time for the assault. Spanish Paralympic basketball team in 2000 was eventually found to have no disabled players. Sort of all of FIFA. That doctor of the U.S. gymnastics team, Larry Nassar, makes you wonder how prevalent that sort of thing really is. Was it just a rare occurrence, or was it indicative of something systemic? Probably the FIFA corruption scandal, where several high-ranking officials from association were arrested and charged with corruption, bribery, and money laundering. Renault team forcing a deliberate accident of one of their driver Nelson Piquet Jr. in Formula One to give advantage to the other driver Fernando Alonso help him win, which ended in the team getting disqualified and subsequent lifetime ban for Flavio Briatore, the team managing director at that time. I'll be in my office. I've got to go get something down on paper. Making a sizable donation to the sanitation district. Gotta take a stick. Time to go make a deposit. I need to drop the kids off at the pool. I need to return some videotapes. My uncle used to say he needed to back one out. Dude from high school used to say, I gotta empty my ass. Need to log out. I'm gonna go sit down for a while. I need to reapply my lip liner. A code brown. Drop a deuce. I need to battle some demons. Where's the poop knife? Gotta go take a spez. What do you think of when you hear California? Proposition 65 that says nearly everything may or may not be carcinogenic. Spell, including this post. I bought a 3M respirator cartridge meant to protect me from chemicals, and it said it could give me cancer. Like, why do I even bother? I got cancer reading this. Cancer warning has lost all meaning. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if chemical companies lobbied for it, because when everything causes cancer, nothing specific does. Known to the state of cancer to cause California, got cancer reading the question. But I live in California, so Medi-Cal got me. The problem with that is, when you label everything as a carcinogen, the actual carcinogens aren't brought into focus. It's kind of like highlighting every word on a page. Nothing stands out. If I buy a shovel that has a label saying it could cause cancer, I stop taking said labels seriously. That's not how it works, though. Example, chrome metal is stable and non-toxic. It does not cause cancer. The manufacturing process for chrome-plated components uses chemicals that can cause cancer. The end product has no association with increased cancer risk, but because of the manufacturing, it comes with a label stating that this piece of chrome metal may cause cancer. It is intentionally misleading. I would rather them be overly cautious than saying screw it. Who cares if cancer rates increase by 5%? You didn't need those last 6 years anyway. Did the citizens of the Palestine OH ever get compensated, or do they just have increased cancer risk? Also check out this unfun read https://nm wikipedia.org/wiki/Times Beach, Missouri. I remember buying my Apple Watch and then seeing a warning that things in it may cause cancer. Why do I even bother? Anytime I join a forum where you can put a About Me section, I usually put in something along the lines of, warning, some or all posts have been known to the state of California to cause cancer. Having been here for just over a week, this is so accurate. The first time I saw one of those signs, I was like, oh, duck, okay, better not hang around here. And then I saw it ducking everywhere, and I was like, oh, okay, it literally doesn't matter. I see guns now have warnings because of potential lead poisoning. Because I guess that's the most dangerous thing about guns. Thankfully, only in the state of California. That's because you didn't read the label first. Seriously, we put warnings on radios now, telling people not to eat them. I wish I was kidding. Are we not, Devo? I'm Swedish, so all my knowledge of California comes from TV, movies, and the Beach Boys. So I think of the sun, beach, surfing, and private detectives solving crimes. That's what instantly comes to mind. I can vouch for this guy. This is how Sweden perceives California. Username checks out. As a Southern Californian movie star, surfer, private detective, I can confirm that the rest of Californians are too. Savor it, the hell months are coming. We haven't had any sun in almost 2 months. So over it. As a Swede living in California, I can also agree that is how Swedes sees California too. Be the California Sweden thinks you can be. I worked with some folks from overseas who quite literally believed that California was nothing but mansions and that San Francisco and LA were separated by the Golden Gate Bridge. Imagine their surprise when they found out there are nearly 400 miles of no man's land between the border of LA County and what's commonly perceived as the Bay Area with $300 K houses, lots of cows, and farms. I'm an American East Coast, and this is how I perceive California too. If they didn't push CA movie star, surfer, PI trade school back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, there wouldn't be so many of us. Bro, I don't think I've seen the sun since October when it started raining. My brown skin is gone, and I'm looking like mashed potatoes. That's how I perceive California too. I live by the beach in LA, though I don't get out much, have never surfed, and I've never solved a crime. I can vouch for this guy. This is how he perceives Sweden. Even as a kid growing up in California, I was shocked at how many cows we had and how badly it smelled like manure even when you couldn't see any cows. Let me blow your mind. Sveriges län counties in English. Los Angeles County has more than 10 million residents. 99/5 equals post-apocalyptic hellscape. 101/1 equals heaven on earth. As a Californian living in California, I just use my eyes to see California. Generation-wise, we have the OC, Silicon Valley, and police brutality. I counted on most of these, but admittedly the private detectives caught me off guard. Immediately made me think of 40s film noir with dames, fedoras, and the works. I'd say for the average American that is definitely not the kind of crime that comes to mind about California and more. I really hope Swedes assume Kali is like the Maltese Falcon. Hey, Summers growing up was like those Hardy Boys/Nancy Drew mysteries. Good old Golden Coast vibes, except when inland. Then it's them desert vibes. My area of California is lots of tacos, cows, and tire shops everywhere. Knows how to party from California love. The city of Compton. Same thought, replied before scrolling. We keep it rockin'. Is real cool to the homeless. Happy to see Tupac mentioned. Good old Watts. Finally got his star on Holly Walk of Fame. Better late than never. This was my first thought too. This is my first thought too in a robotic voice I my head. I always thought it was no doubt about it. Although popularized by Tupac and Dre, the term California knows how to party along with all the opening lyrics to California Love are sampled from a tune called West Coast Pop Lock by Ronnie Hudson released in 1982. I was literally hoping that this is one of the top comments. Thank you. Glad I'm not the only one. First thing that came to my head too. That voice is Roger Troutman, if you're interested. Sorry to go off track here, but I gotta applaud you just for username. Good old Watts. I'm originally from Northern California. For me it's about the national parks, beaches, redwoods, and rivers. Beautiful state outside the big cities. Absolutely. I used to live in the Sacramento Valley, and the thing I always think of is nature and great breweries. The thing I miss most about Cully is the variance of land. They got the beach, mountains, forests, rainforest, desert, lakes and rivers, like literally almost every biome on Earth exists in some form in California. Great state for avid hikers like me, bad for people who don't make a ton of money, also like me. Beautiful state in the big cities. California reminds me of GTA 5 San Andreas and nostalgia. I have never been outside of my home country Turkey. City of trees, baby. I'm sure it is. I've spent time in LA, SF and SD and mostly enjoyed myself. I'm just not much of a city guy. If you're curious, go on YouTube and have a look at some of California's national parks. They'll give you a good idea of its diversity. Here's a list of park names for reference: Yosemite National Park, Sequoia National Park, Kings Canyon, Death Valley, Joshua Tree, Redwood, Lassen, Channel Islands, Pinnacles. I've lived in and worked in 2 of those parks and have visited 7 of them. California is a wonderland if you're into the natural world. One used to live in the Sacramento Valley as well, not much out there, but fields lull. I prefer going up north a bit more to the Sierras. I dislike how Cali is sometimes viewed as a state of big cities and rampant poverty. For me, north of San Fran along the west coast, especially in Mendocino, Humboldt, and Del Norte, is pure paradise. That doesn't even count the Sierra Nevada east of Fresno and San Fran, which is easily one of the most unique bioregions on the entire planet. When I first moved to California from the East Coast, I couldn't get over how much it looked like GTA. Like everything. The cities, the hoods, the deserts, Santa Monica Pier, the wind farm in Palm Springs, even the NPCs. I felt like I had been places I hadn't actually been because of GTA. That's one thing I also love about California, the variety. I lived in Southern Cali, and in the same day you could drive up the mountains to play in the snow, then drive down to the beach and play in the hot sand if you really wanted to. And weather permitting, of course. Here we go. That piano intro, though. My ex introduced me to the OSIN College. I learned the song on piano as a gift for them. I don't remember how to play the whole song, but my fingers can still do the dun-na-na-na-na, dun-na-na-na-na, dun-na-na-nu-na-nu-na using muscle memory alone. OC is so goat. Welcome to the OC Glitch. Chino. Jason Schwartzman is the drummer on this track, BTW. I grew up in the city that show was based on. Almost none of the show was filmed in Newport Beach. I think a few of the aerial shots. Most of it was filmed in Malibu and Torrance. We've been on the run, driven in the sun, looking out for #1 California. Here we come right back where we started from. California, I'll be knocking on the golden door. Same. I have an uncountable amount of memories involving California. But this prompt just had the OC theme song playing in my head. Robert, California. I will not be blackmailed by some ineffectual, privileged, effete, soft-penized debutante. You want to start a street fight with me, bring it on, but you're gonna be surprised by how ugly it gets. You don't even know my real name. I'm the Ducking Lizard King. Of course I am not interested in goats. Why would you spend so much time going over the goats with me? I hear Arnold Schwarzenegger saying California. I'm the Ducking Lizard King. California. Bob Kazamakis. Do you prefer a nature metaphor or a sexual metaphor? R/unexpected office. Do I look like a man who would waste my own time? Literally said this out loud when I read the title. Just went on vacation there, driving the coastline top to bottom. So what I'll forever think of is gorgeous coastline, massive trees, beautiful beaches, abundance of sea glass, amazing views, great times. Thanks, California, for one of our best vacations. Red. As a Californian, thanks for visiting. I'm glad you had a great vacation. Come again anytime. You're always welcome. It was fantastic, and I wish we lived there. My East Coast cousin always hated Cali, and I said I'll take 2 weeks off, and I'll show you around. He landed midday at LAX, and I took him to Venice Beach to see all the crazies he thought was California living. Well, he was awakened to that is not the rest of the state when we camped on the sand in Pismo, hung out in SF, camped in Yosemite and Death Valley. Changed his mind completely, and glad you love our state of diverse environments. Californian here. While living in this state is difficult sometimes, especially with the cost of living, I have always, and will always, love the beautiful topography of this state. Glad you made wonderful memories here and visit us again. So skip LA? Cause my thoughts are like your cousin's were. What would be your best recommendation along the coastline or just in the general area? I'm doing a similar trip in September. Whether it's good or not, if you didn't eat In-N-Out before leaving, then you've committed a grievous crime. Yet it's beautiful and all until you move there rolling on the floor laughing. I felt like you after my 1-month vacation. I moved there and now I wonder what kind of drugs I was on the day I decided to move there rolling on the floor laughing. The environment is great. It's the majority voting population that sucks. The politics in that state are its downfall. The landscape is gorgeous though. Burrito edit. Specifically California burritos burrito. Born and raised Californian. And this is my answer. More than natural diversity, more than Mediterranean climate, more than overpriced housing. California is burrito.